Four games in the NBA yesterday, and let's start off by talking about the Grizzlies getting a 122-99 blowout win against the Bucks, even though they were shorthanded. This was a game that was controlled by Memphis the entire way. They won the first quarter 40-24, jumped out to a lead early, were led by a fantastic night by Morant all around. Memphis goes up by as much as 31 at one point. They dominated this game from start to finish, even without guys like Desmond Bane, Marcus Smart, a lot of core guys still missing for the Grizzlies. They were really shorthanded tonight, and even with that, they were still able to get this blowout win. This overall had a strong night on both sides of the ball. They held Milwaukee to just 42% shooting and 21% from three, while Memphis themselves shot 52% from the field and had 7 players in double figures. And they were led by Morant, as I said earlier, 26 points, 10 rebounds, 14 assists. He goes 9 of 16 from the field, hits a few threes as well, was all around magnificent, had a beautiful alley-oop pass off the ground as well. He was making some sensational plays all night long. Jake LaRavia had 11 on 50% shooting. He was a plus 30 as well, double-double for him. Santi Aldama, he rebounds from his rough night last night, gets 19 points, 9 rebounds. He shoots 7 of 14. Jalen Wells, the rookie, he starts. He has a strong game, 16 points, 7 rebounds, has an efficient game as well. He's looked like a strong rookie. Zach Edey had a solid night, 10 points, 8 rebounds in just 23 minutes. Scottie Pippen Jr. looked good, and like he said in his post-game interview, he really wanted to win this one, and he played well, 16 points, 5 of 8 shooting, and Jaren Jackson Jr. was the 7th Memphis player in double figures. He finished with 13, was the least efficient of the bunch, going 5 and 12, but it did not matter. Memphis all around has a great game. They rebound the ball really well. They defend really well. They have different guys help lead them to victory, and all around, great win for a team that has some of the best depth in the entire league. He continues to be one of the most frustrating teams in the league to start the season. After their opening night win, they have now lost 4 games in a row, and tonight, Giannis had 37 points, 11 rebounds, goes a very efficient 17 of 22, was great all night long. He was actually a 0 plus minus wise, but in the 15 minutes without him on the court, Milwaukee was a minus 23, and that was particularly because Damian Lillard just had an all-around horrible game. 4 points, 6 assists, a brutal 1 of 12 shooting. Only Milwaukee had 2 other players in double figures, being Bobby Portis, who had 11 points but was just 5 of 14, and Brook Lopez, who had 12 points on 4 of 8 shooting and 3 of 6 from 3, which has honestly been one of his better offensive games of the year. The rest of Milwaukee's team, just a bunch of bad performances, nobody really picking up the slack that Damian Lillard left, and just another horrible performance from the Bucks, who just look so discombobulated out there. They don't look ready, they don't look prepared, they look sloppy, they look unorganized, they just don't look good at all, and they need something to change quickly, or this is going to be a complete rerun of last year, except the last 30 games are going to become the entire season, and I don't think Milwaukee wants that, to say the least, and they need to change it, and change it now before this becomes too late. Teams will play again on Saturday, with the Grizzlies heading to Philadelphia to take on the Sixers, and Milwaukee looking to end their skid against the red-hot Cleveland Cavaliers. We have the Rockets getting a 108-102 win over the Mavericks. This was a game where Houston started off on a 6-0 run, and they never lost the lead in this one. The Rockets had the lead the entire way through. They have a really strong first quarter, win the first frame 34-21. More of a defensive second quarter, and Houston does go up by as much as 23 at one point in the third quarter, but Dallas starts gradually coming back, especially in the fourth quarter. They finally started hitting their shots a little more late. They were playing a really strong defense on Houston, but it was just too late. By the time that Dallas was within 2 possessions, it was already time to just start hacking Houston, and they were able to hold on and win this game by 6 points. Big key for Houston's win tonight was their attacking of the glass, especially on second chance opportunities. The Rockets finished with 18 offensive rebounds and 20 second chance points, and their offensive rebounding is something that has been great so far this year. One of the best offensive rebounding teams in the league just a few games into the season, and it has led to the Rockets getting a lot more opportunities than their opponents. They finished with 12 more shots than the Mavs did tonight, along with 7 more free throws. Led by Jalen Green in scoring, he finished with 23 points, 12 rebounds, goes 9-21 from the field, which may not be the most efficient game, but he overall had a pretty strong game and was really good down the stretch in this one, which is something that I've noticed about him this year. He has been really good in fourth quarters, which is something that people were concerned about, especially with such a score-first player like him, but he's been shooting efficient down the stretch of games, which Houston will take any day of the week. Şengün, he finished with 17 points, 12 rebounds. His inefficient start to the season continues, though. He was a really rough 5 of 16 from the field. At some point, that shot's gonna fall, but he's just been a little discombobulated to start the year. He's been really good on the offensive glass and just rebounding in general, but that shot has not been falling yet. Tari Eason, he comes off the bench and has a great game for the Rockets. 15 points, 4 rebounds, a super efficient 6 of 10 night. Dylan Brooks, he gets 17 of his own. He does shoot just 40% from the field, 2 of 9 from 3, but overall, not a bad game for him. Jabari Smith Jr., he also is in double figures, 14 and 6 on 50% shooting. And finally, Amen Thompson has a solid game as well. 10 points, 4 rebounds, goes 4 of 5 from the field. Overall, good game for him. So even though guys like Fred VanVleet had a really rough game, VanVleet goes 2 of 13, Houston was able to use their defense and their second chance opportunities to propel them to a really strong win on the road. Mavs, they were led and carried by their two-man brigade of Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic. Luka led Dallas in scoring with 29 points, going 12 of 25 from the field, 3 of 7 from long distance. Luka was much better down the stretch in the fourth quarter as well, but he did have just 2 assists, which is extremely low for his standards. However, he also had just 1 turnover, which is also extremely low for his standards. Kyrie Irving, he has 28, 8, and 7. Efficient game for him, 10 of 20 from the field, 5 of 6 from long distance. But outside of those two, only one other Mav was in double figures, and that was Klay Thompson, who had 12 points on 13 shots. Wasn't his best game, probably his worst as a Mav so far, but he's been off to a really strong start to the year, so I'm not putting that much into it. Outside of those 3 guys, though, no other Mav was in double figures. PJ Washington, 6 points, 9 rebounds. He did have 6 stocks, really good game on the defensive end, 50% shooting, but his three-pointer has just not been falling to start the year. He's not a good corner 3 shooter despite how much Dallas wants him to be. It's just not his thing. He was last in the league at it last year, and he's off to a bad start at it again this year. It's just not his shot, and Dallas refuses to admit it. Gafford and Lively combined for 12 points in 30 minutes. Both did have pretty efficient games, but neither of them were really great either. All around, just nobody stepped up off the bench for the Mavericks to come and propel them back in this game, especially since Luka and Kyrie desperately needed it. Just one that Dallas is going to want to forget. They tried their hardest to come back late, and that fourth quarter was really good, but they played pretty bad basketball, especially on the offensive side of the ball for the first 3 quarters of this one. Look to get another win Saturday at home against the Warriors, while Dallas will look to rebound Sunday against the Magic. We have the Spurs winning 106-88 against the Utah Jazz. Back and forth start to the first quarter, Utah went on a big run to end the first and take a 11-point lead heading into the second, but over the next few quarters, and especially in the second half, the Spurs took complete control of this game and this was due to just how great they did on the defensive side of the ball. After a 30-point first quarter for Utah, they scored just 58 points in the next three quarters, including a 35-point second half. The Spurs completely took control of the game, winning that second half 59-35, turning this from a game in the first quarter that looked like Utah could pull off the win to a blowout San Antonio win. Led by Victor Wembanyama, who in his first week of the second year of his career has become the third player in NBA history to have multiple 5x5 games, joining both Hakeem Olajuwon and Andre Kirilenko. He finishes the game with 25 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, 5 steals, 5 blocks, may have gone just 9 of 20 from the field and 4 of 13 from long distance. Wemby's been taking a lot of long distance shots, which is interesting to watch. Like I've said, I would like him to go down in the restricted area and down in the paint a little more, but he is still a wonderful player and doing things that we have never seen from a basketball player before. The fact that just this early into the second season of his career, he already has multiple 5x5s is absolutely absurd. Insane Wemby stat from last night is that he was a plus 43 on the court, and another guy who had a phenomenal plus minus and a great game all around was Chris Paul. 19 points, 7 rebounds, 10 assists, 8 of 13 from the field, 3 of 7 from 3, was a plus 37, his best game as a Spur so far. And Jeremy Sohan wasn't his most efficient game, going just 5 of 13 from the field, but had 11 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 stocks. One of those Swiss Army knife type guys. He does it all really on the court. Another guy, Keldon Johnson, had 13, but he was just 3 of 10 from the field. Sandro, he had double digits. All around, great defensive game for San Antonio. So even though they shoot just 41% from the field, they hold Utah to a 39% shooting night. They force 26 Utah turnovers, and it leads to them getting another win. Overall, just a brutal night for Utah after that first quarter. They were led in scoring by Colin Sexton. He has 16 points, 3 assists, goes 5 of 11 from the field, was one of 2 players I'd say that played well for Utah, the other being John Collins, 14 and 11, goes 6 of 13 from the field. Neither of them had great games, but they were the best of a bad bunch. Another guy that played pretty well is the rookie Kyle Filipowski, 12 points, 5 rebounds, efficient, 5 of 8 shooting, made 2 of his 4 threes as well. He was a guy that I liked when I was watching that game. Keontae George has just been off to a rough start to this year. He has 15 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, goes just 5 of 14 from the field, 1 of 9 from 3. He has 7 turnovers as well. He's been off to a really tough start to this year. Hope he turns it around because he has just not looked very good. Patty Mills, he had 9 points on 7 shots. He was all right. All around, though, just nobody stepped up for Utah. Nobody had a great game, and when you have a guy like Victor Wembanyama on the other team who is playing like he is, you're going to need somebody to step up and take the charge in the second half, and nobody did that for Utah. They just overall shot horribly in the second half, and it led to them losing this one. Have a guy like Lauri Markkanen out, that makes that a lot tougher, but now Utah is 0-5 and the only remaining winless team left in the entire league. Look to get their first win Saturday night in Denver, while the Spurs will also play again Saturday night at home against Minnesota. We have the Suns pulling off a great 20-point comeback and winning 125-119 against the Clippers. Phoenix comeback, where they were down by as much as 21 early in the third quarter, was totally engineered by how much better they played in the second half on both sides of the ball. After scoring just 20 points in the first quarter, they scored 105 over the next 3 frames, and they did a much better job on the defensive side of the ball as well, holding the Clippers to just 49 points. And once again, the fourth quarter, which was an issue for the Suns last year, turned into one of their best quarters. They did a great job down the stretch after pulling off the comeback for most of the third quarter. They kept the momentum going in the fourth. Once they took the lead, they were able to hold the Clippers at bay and, in general, just earn a great win. They were led by a fantastic 40-point, 8 assist, 3 steal game from Devin Booker, where he goes 11 of 18 from the field, 5 of 9 from 3. Another guy who has a really strong night is Royce O'Neal. He has 21 points, 7 rebounds. He goes a super efficient 7 of 8 from the field, 5 of 6 from 3. Kevin Durant may have not taken a shot in the entire fourth quarter, but he finished with 18 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, shoots an efficient 7 of 13, and with how good the rest of Phoenix's team was playing, I can't blame him for not taking a shot down the stretch. Another guy that played great for the Suns and has looked to be a fantastic pick for them is Ryan Dunn. 16 points, 4 rebounds. He plays 34 minutes, 6 of 12 from the field, 4 of 9 from 3. It's early on, but it looks like Phoenix got an absolute steal from this guy. He's turned into a guy that people were worried wasn't going to be able to shoot well, to one of the better shooters to start the season for the Suns. And when you pair that with his elite defense, he turns into such a dangerous player and a guy that Phoenix might have no choice but to play more and more as the season progresses with how good he has been playing. Tyus Jones, he had 7 points, 11 assists, may have shot just 3 of 8 from the field, but his distributing was really well. Nurkic, he was okay, 11 points, 3 of 6 shooting. He was outplayed again by Zubac as his rough start to the season continues, but even with that, great win for the Suns. They're off to a 4-1 start this year and have been playing some really good basketball at the beginning of the year. Clippers lost. The 2 guys that they've been really happy about so far this year had good games once again. Vasquez, 22 points, 12 rebounds, a super efficient 9 of 10 game for him. And Norman Powell added 23 points of his own. May have been a little inefficient going 9 of 21 from the field, but was 4 of 11 from 3, was overall a solid game for him, and he's been playing really well to start this season. James Harden, he has a triple-double, 25, 10, 13, does it all on the court, 8 of 19 from the field. Again, you'd probably like for him to be a little more efficient, but with how much he's doing on the court right now, you gotta just live with that, especially, with the talent that the Clippers are putting out there. 2 other Clippers were in double figures. Kevin Porter Jr. probably has his best game of the season so far. 14 points, 5 rebounds, 6 of 12 from the field. Still has a good amount of issues, don't get me wrong. I mean, his shooting has not been good to start the year. His defense isn't that great either, but he did probably have his best game as a Clipper so far. And Derrick Jones Jr. was also in double figures with 11 points, but he went just 4 of 10 from the field, which is low for his standards. Outside of that, not much for the Clippers. You had Terrence Mann getting 8, Amir Kofi getting 7. He played well in the gap minutes that he played in, but all around, the Clippers just completely fell apart on both sides of the ball in the second half, and that led to them getting a pretty rough loss in this one. Teams will play again on Saturday, with Phoenix taking on the Blazers and the Clippers taking on the Thunder. The 4 games from the NBA yesterday. If you watched to the end of this, thank you. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. God bless, and I will be back tomorrow recapping the 9 games that are going on tonight.